Hello everyone, I'm Mark Kobrick, and this is the Lakewood City Council Candidates Forum. The goal of the forum is to present the views of the candidates for Lakewood City Council in a fair, nonpartisan setting so that you, the voters, can make an informed decision. All candidates whose names will appear on the ballot have been invited to take part in this forum. The League of Women Voters of Jefferson County is sponsoring the forum in cooperation with Lakewood 8. The views expressed here will be those of the candidates, not the views of the Jefferson County League of Women Voters or of Lakewood 8. The Jeffco League of Women Voters has provided all of the questions for the candidates. The League takes no stand in support of or opposition to the candidates. Our forum is divided into 6 sections, one forum for mayor and one for each of 5 city council ward races. Each forum is about a half an hour long. This is the forum for the mayoral race. The mayor is elected at large, so all residents will have an opportunity to vote for the next mayor. There are 2 candidates running for mayor. Let's meet them now. Adam Paul and Remmy Johnson. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for your time today. And Adam, you're going to go first. 2 minutes for your opening statement,
well,
if you will.
Mark, thank you very much, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters, and I want to thank Remmy Johnson for this great opportunity. You know, the League does wonderful things making sure that you can get to know your candidates and issues facing our community. I'm Adam Paul. I'm born and raised in Lakewood, grew up in Green Mountain, went to Green Mountain High School, graduated from the University of Colorado, Denver, and have owned and operated a small transportation company since the early 2000s. I served on the Green Mountain Water Board for 6 years, City Council for 8, and I had the tremendous pleasure of becoming your mayor in 2015. Since then, we've seen a lot of great wins, and we've seen some challenges in our community. I want to start with some of our wins. In 2016, we were named an All-America City for the 2nd time. Knowing that we had kids that were hungry, kids that needed jackets in the winter and needed extra tutoring, we came together with our faith partners and said we can do better. Our sustainability plan created the Sustainable Neighborhoods Program, which is an award-winning program that has brought together neighborhoods and neighbors to help realize their future and what sustainability means to them. We created the Coalition to End Hunger in Lakewood. We're far too great of a city to have people go without. And lastly, together, we passed 2D, which put new police agents on our streets, gave them the equipment that they needed. It added traffic mitigation projects to the community to help relieve traffic. And something I'm very proud of, it added $8.5 million for new park and open space expansion. This building upon an already 60-acre purchase of the historic Taylor property, protecting it in perpetuity from development. So that's a good foundation, but our work is not done. We have a lot more to do. As our community has become popular, as we've seen growth, we have challenges ahead of us, and we're celebrating Lakewood's 50th anniversary this year. And so by coming together, we can take charge and make sure that we keep Lakewood a great community for the next 50 years.
Oh, thank you. And Ramie, your opening statement, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you to the League of Women Voters. I am Remmy Johnson, and I am running to be your next mayor. This election is about an awakening of the people who want their voices not only heard, but counted, and with the expectation that their voices will be listened to. This election is about you taking control and defining your home. It's an exciting time of igniting hope that we will be working for you and not outsiders. This election is about restoring trust. Lakewood is a special place to live. Our open space defines us from other cities. One of our core values is a safe community. Crime and traffic have increased dramatically, secondary to our drastic increase in population. My administration will be proactive. We will have ongoing meetings with the police department and the court system to look at any needed policy changes. My administration will hear unfiltered information in order to make honest public policy choices. Ideas will be based on merit and not on personality. This is going to be a fresh culture change where the citizens are the clients to be served. This culture change will have a leadership that promotes healthy relationships, not only in our community, but yes, on City Council as well. We will have an open environment of caring and sharing. I am excited to be leading Lakewood in this new chapter of returning us to our core values and restoring trust. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramie, and thank you both. Very well done, very well said. Ramie, let's begin with you. Our questions, again, of course, come from the League of Women Voters of Jefferson County. And so we kind of know the directions the two of you would like to go now after your opening statements, but I'm wondering about your desire to seek the job itself. A lot of mayors across the country are reporting long hours, a lot of contentious constituents. They report significant security issues for many of them. The job is a very difficult one, the job of being mayor of an American city. And for many mayors as well, they're saying the pay really isn't commensurate with the job. So I'm wondering, why would you want to jump into this? I mean, it's a very difficult position. I'm sure there's moments of it that are probably very rewarding and fulfilling, but on the other side of it, there's a lot of heavy lifting.
That's absolutely true. Maybe I shouldn't be saying here.
I should have painted such a grim picture, I suppose.
Right. It was a very serious commitment. And basically, people had been asking me for 4 years, Mark. It's been ongoing. And recently, the threshold of people wanting to have another opponent came to the point where we decided to put our hat into the race. It's the right thing. We have some very serious trust issues within this community, and I feel like I am the right person that can rebuild and restore some of that. I'm pleased to be doing this, and I am looking forward to an exciting chapter in Lakewood that will have honest and true leadership that represents the people and actually incorporates their voices, their concerns, and they will know that there's somebody listening to them. Thank you.
Adam, it is a heavy lift. It's a big job.
Yeah, it's been an honor. I wouldn't trade it for anything. There is a lot of sacrifice, and you certainly don't do it for the pay. You do it because you care for a community. And in my case, this is a community that raised me. I lost my mom when I was in kindergarten, and later in life, I had opened a letter that she left my brother and I. She left us different letters, and she said, work hard to change the ugliness. And that's really tasked me, and it said, this is a way that I can give back to a community that wouldn't let me fail. And so it's about it's about trying to find a balance. There's a difference when you're a council member in one ward and you can really carry the ward, but when you have to carry the whole city, there's so many different diverse opinions and stakeholders that you have to be good at bringing those folks together to really move a city forward. This year I chair the Metro Mayor's Caucus, 41 mayors throughout the metro region. And we work hard not only on our cities, but knowing that a lot of the issues that we face in one community, the rest of us are facing. So it's about being collaborative. It's about trying to hear all voices and making opportunities for folks to be able to participate. One cool thing, because we're always looking for ways for folks to participate, we created a program that now lets you weigh in on some of our most challenging issues like land use from your home. You don't have to come to City Council on a Monday night. You can give your public comment via the computer and we all get to see that. So those are things that I like to do because you need to hear all voices. And so I take great responsibility. I take great pride in this job, and our city is a great community. Not without flaws, and nor as a leader are we without flaws, but it's the togetherness, and when we come together, that's how we continue to have a great community.
Public officials across the board, a lot of the council candidates have also said they also share a lot of the same problems, as does this office. So the League wants to know, and Adam, this is a question to you, what do you see as a current challenge for the city of Lakewood, and what action would you propose to overcome it?
Yeah, it's great. So, we talked about some wins, and I think we have a few different challenges. I think we heard about crime, we heard about affordable housing, we've certainly heard about growth and development. And I think the one thing that resonates all these different issues, there's two things. One is coming together and hearing all voices. Two is making sure that we have the resources or we're making smart policies. So for instance, with homelessness, we've created a new community action team that's going into the streets, really trying to find unique ways. But that partnership doesn't stop with Lakewood. We're moving into other communities because we don't want to push the problem or have the problem pushed here. So we're working with our partners in Jefferson County. Affordable housing is a big issue, and supporting our housing authority and working with other community builders to look at ways that we can ensure that all folks can thrive. Lakewood's a big city, over 150,000, and that last glance, I think a single mother of two or a single father of two would have to work 80 hours a week at minimum wage to afford rent in the city of Lakewood. So we need to find partnerships because government can't do all of that. Growth, we've heard a lot about growth. Question 200 passed. We must implement that, and we must also, that's where I get back to being mayor. You don't have the luxury of just representing a ward, you have to represent the whole city, and so we need to make sure areas that don't want to see growth, we support that, but there are still communities along West Colfax that want to see it. And then crime, we've added 25%, nearly 25% to our public safety budget. We've added over 20 police agents to the streets. And so we need to continue that, but it's not just police agents we need to add. We need to look at our laws and see if there are things that we can better help our police in moving them forward to give them the tools that they need.
Ramie, same question for you. Biggest challenge and your solution for it?
Thank you. I think the biggest challenge is going to be to rebuild trust within this community. I'm glad that Adam brought up the recent election and the 200 issue. The reason why that became such an issue is people did not feel that the city was listening to them, that their elected officials were not paying attention. So they took matters into their own hands. They got a petition. It didn't get to the ballot in a timely way, which it should have. But that's the kind of thing that happens when people don't feel that their city is actually paying attention to them. We want leadership that does listen to the people, incorporates their thoughts, a city that is built on the future of what the people want, not outside money, which we've seen happen recently. Money should not be buying our public policy. And I would also like to address crime, but we will do it proactively. Right now, all of our departments are working in silos. Again, City Council will be meeting with the police department and the court system. We need to look at public policy from what their perspective is and operate so that we are working in unity, not in silos. Thank you.
Let me, and this question goes to you first, Ramie. Let me ask you about the growth issue. It's seemingly the topic of the day. All anybody wants to talk about it in the city of Lakewood, residents and elected officials both. With the passing of Lakewood Question 200, the City Council will be determining the number of allocations available for issuance for each year based on 1% of the number of estimated dwelling units as of December 31st of the previous year as the equal point, while allowing for any additions of new dwellings, annexations, and exempted projects and subtractions for any destroyed or abandoned dwellings. I'm essentially reading you the ordinance here. And expired permits. So that was the ordinance that was passed, to the surprise of some, although not at all to the surprise of many residents of Lakewood apparently. So I'm asking you, how do you see this change actually affecting the city of Lakewood as we go forward with it on the books?
Oh, that's easy. It's going to affect it in a positive way, Mark. The people are now taking control of the way their city is going to look and to grow. That's the whole idea of what happened with 200. People want to have a say. It will help to have a responsible kind of growth, not sporadic. What we found, what happened in 2012, there was a rewrite of the zoning ordinance that eliminated residential densities. Immediately, we started hearing angst among the people. Look what is happening in our community. Our crime is going up. Traffic is out of control. That's why that happened. And I think that 200 will make a big difference. Remember, this is for residential allocations. It does not deal with commercial. And it also addresses blight. There will be some portions of Lakewood that will not be part of what that allocation is. Also for senior housing. So I'm happy to see it finally get implemented. I am concerned that we have taken it so long to be implemented. That is a concern of mine. It is a concern that it is actually not tampered with and is not a temporary kind of a thing. People passed it for the right reasons, and we as City Council need to implement it the way the people expected it to be implemented.
Adam, a burden or a force for change?
Yeah, I think it's certainly a force for change, and I think it'll be interesting for us to navigate through. Again, when you're mayor of a city this big, you really have to try to listen to all the stakeholders, and some stakeholders particularly in the Two Creeks and Ward 2 area that have been waiting for revitalization of West Colfax. This was a concern for them. So, we're going to learn together. These sort of things are always part of the public process. It's the beautiful part of democracy, the citizens' right. And so we're going to implement this to the fullest, and we're going to find ways to continue to help some neighborhoods that want to see growth grow and protect those other ones. I want to go back to a couple things, though, if I might. There was this mention of silo, and we actually have a pretty dynamic, pretty smart staff and an incredible police department. For instance, we passed a monumental ordinance to help clean up West Colfax, and to put it in perspective, over 3,000 calls for service to those hotels and motels. We worked to get an ordinance, and this was an ordinance that was done throughout all of the city staff. So you had 4, 5, 6 different departments. So they have a great culture of collaboration. And the other thing I wanted to mention was when we did do a zoning rewrite, and as we look to the future, 200 is kind of a middle play for us to do a little bit of a reset brought forth by the folks. But the zoning rewrite, actually, we've never had density limits in the city code. And so I'm not sure where that comes from. But there's been some misinformation out there, and that's always a hard thing because people feel passionate about their neighborhoods. And so how do you get the factual information out there, and how do you let folks know that we are working really hard, and let's not be driven by fear, but let's lead with great gusto and dreams for the future.
The League agrees that growth is a major issue for this city, and it's very much on the minds of voters. So there's another question that goes to growth. And they're asking, what challenges, if any, do you anticipate as Lakewood 2025 is moving forward over the next several years? And I believe, where am I? I believe the next question goes to, no, I'm sorry, the next question goes to Adam. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, so we have comprehensive plans, and in those plans, those are community-driven plans that say this is what we want to see, this is what we want to envision the city to be in the future. And we have, for instance, now we have these growth areas that were defined, and that's where the city's growing. In large part, I think probably over 80% of the city has not seen any kind of growth. And so now we look into the future, and we need to take into account, one is we have a very important thing coming up next year called the United States Census. We're certainly going to see a larger number of folks in the city, and that'll help us with some of the resources that we'll get from the federal government. But we need to look at an aging population. How do people age in place affordably? How do people that are in a single family home and might be sick of walking up and down those stairs, how do they find a patio home? And do we have that kind of stock? What about our transportation? What is that going to look like in the future? Sustainability is a big part of this, right? And sustainability means different things to different people. It means the health of the neighborhood. It could mean recycling. And so when you look at Lakewood moving forward in 2025, you have to really take into account that. You need to look at brick and mortar becoming less competitive with online buying, and how do we support our local businesses? We're sales tax based, and as folks age, maybe spending goes down. As the internet becomes more popular, you start to see our brick and mortar. So we're going to continue to face some really interesting challenges, and I hearken back to just coming together to face it. We've been a great community since 1969, and that's not going to stop. We're going to be a great community for the next 50 years.
Same question for you, Ramie, regarding Lakewood moving forward, 2025.
Thank you, and we are a great community, I believe, because of the people that live here. They are the ones that make this the great community. We have had recent reduction in our sales tax revenues. For me, public safety will be the priority, and we need to make sure that our budget reflects that as well. There has been some angst with people that have mentioned that the comprehensive plan probably needs to be taken a look at again. There has been concern that it wasn't as inclusive as it could have been with what they had already written, that it was not part of what the final document is. And I think that's some of the concern, is a trust issue with the people and the way that policy has been implemented, to go back and to look at that again. And I absolutely agree, our population is aging, and there needs to be a product of more of a patio home. Folks are tired of doing their yard work, for one thing, and I understand that. But we also could use some condos as well. Affordability is absolutely an issue. We've got many, many new apartments that have gone up, and Metro West Housing has also done an awesome job of actually creating some new facilities as well. I'd like to get back to the motels too. Like everybody else, I was looking at the economic development on Colfax and looked at these motels. I reached out to the police department and worked with them to put together the new motel ordinance that licenses these motels. But you don't make public policy without including the people that are included. So I reached out to owners of these motels so they are part of what that policy is. Is it perfect? I don't know. It hasn't been in place not even a year, but is a good start. Thank you.
Let me ask you about the city and looking down the road. Lakewood's become a very high-profile community, almost, well, I should say, somewhat suddenly, rather suddenly, for issues such as the growth issues, sustainability, light rail, which was such a big issue here. Your population, a large segment of which comprises one of the most senior populations in the state of Colorado, bringing many challenges to your community. So, Ramie, I'll begin with you. I want to know, how do you see this going forward? The city's celebrating a 50th anniversary. You know, a lot of changes for you in terms of ordinances and how the city is going to work. What do you see for Lakewood down the road? Is it going to be a difficult, it's going to be a bumpy ride for the next decade, or do you think the city's just coming into its own?
I believe that we have just finished our first 50 years and we're at a crossroads, really, where the people now want to be part of defining the way that their home and their community looks. I am very much supportive of that. Incidentally, other cities are looking at the same ordinance that we just passed, and there may also be a statewide or a regional ballot initiative. Folks are concerned about the growth that has happened, that it be done responsibly. We are a very good role model for that, and I'm thrilled that they're looking at it. You mentioned the light rail, and yes, it is a very good amenity for our community, but it is a mixed blessing, Mark. It is creating some angst in the neighborhoods where it is. We've got more foot traffic of people that normally have not been there. It has also created growth zones, if you will, but that needs to be done in a way for where the people that live there are part of the process of the way these high-density build-outs and apartments look. So I see our future as very exciting. The people that move here come here because they love what we have and they want it to call it home. And I'm excited.
Is the city just experiencing a lot of growing pains, Adam, or are they just trying to navigate maybe a new personality here as we go forward?
You know, I think it's a lot of different things. A former mayor once said a city either moves forward or it moves backwards. It doesn't stay the same. So you're always kind of in this flux. When I was first getting on council, one of the neighborhood high schools was looking at closing because population was declining, right? And now that high school is booming. Right, so you see this ebb and flow, and that's just one example. In fact, the largest gains in population that the city realized was in the early 2000s. And so we're going to continue to move forward. We're going to face these challenges with the way the Lakewood spirit or the Lakewood proud way that we've done. Think about Belmar. Think about an old dying mall where the community came together, right? And everything that you do is not always going to be perfect, and you're always going to have the good and the bad. So I think we're going to continue to be strong. I think economic development is something we need to continue to look at when we look at some of our rundown strip malls. I do want to make a correction. Our sales tax is not declining. It's slowing, but we haven't seen a dip in our sales tax. But that is an indicator that the economy might start to see a slowdown. And what does that mean for the resources? So, you know, there's a lot of things that make Lakewood great. Over a quarter of our city is parks and open space, over 100 parks, and we continue to add to that. That's a key if we're going to continue to grow, to make sure that we add to that. Public safety, that's the number one thing that makes a community great is our public safety. So we need to continue to make sure that they have those resources. And our schools. While we're not the school district, a lot of our great neighborhoods are named after their elementary schools, and they are the fundamental cornerstone of what makes a neighborhood great. And we have to have great schools because people want to move into our neighborhoods. And so none of this is insurmountable. We can overcome, and I look forward to the future. I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to work hard on the next 4 years on the foundation we've built.
That's the Lake's next question. As a matter of fact, going forward, Lakewood has been in the crosshairs of a lot of issues lately, but the people who are already here want to stay. There are other people, clearly, who want to move into this community. It's in Denver's shadow, but it's not really Denver. Has a lot of great amenities, beautiful parks, a very good school system. So the question is, in your opinion, what single thing makes this the vibrant community that it is in which to live? In your opinion, what makes Lakewood Lakewood?
Our residents. It's certainly what's a great city built upon. In fact, this was a theme from one of my State of the Cities. What's a great city but its people? And we have all those ancillary amenities, but it's the people that make Lakewood what it is, and it's the people that disagree. It's Ramie and I, when we disagree, that's what this is all about, this grand experiment of the United States of America. And what I try to find is the middle ground, right? We know that we have folks on this side and this side, but when we all come together and we can move forward and maybe everybody doesn't leave with exactly what they wanted, I think that's some of the best policy that we've seen passed.
Ramie, what makes it a great city? Why is Lakewood the great place it is to live in?
We agree. It's the people that move here that have chosen Lakewood as their home and that have defined this place the way that they want it. I absolutely agree with that. What makes us good is that we are inclusive. I like that, accepting of everybody. We can do a better job of listening to the people and what they have to say. Again, going back to 200, people did not feel that their voices were being heard. So we can improve on that. We have a vibrant future ahead of us, and I'm excited about that. I'd like to see us take a look at our primary jobs. I think we can do a little better job with that as well. But bringing people together to the table, a vision of safety that people should have, unity, trust, acceptance of others, healthy relationships. That's what we build on, and that's what I'm excited to work with.
Thank you both for your time today. It's time for closing statements now. Each of you will have 1 minute, and Ramie, you have the opportunity to speak first. Your closing statement, if you would.
Thank you. As Lakewood closes its 50-year millennium or milestone, we are at a crossroads. We have an opportunity for an awakening of a bright new chapter, a chapter of true democracy where the voices are heard, a collaborative vision that will prevail, a time when this beautiful city not only reflects your input, but where it's sought and you help to define the future. A new beginning of honest, open, real transparent governance. Those who are elected will understand that we serve you and not the other way around. In the end, we all want the same thing. We want leadership that brings people together. We want our residents that have an equal seat at the table, and they are working towards a mutual community vision of responsible growth. Please join me in leading us as we restore trust for this vibrant, special city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramie. Adam, your closing statement.
Again, thank you, and thank you both very much. And again, thank you to the league. So I started out with some wins, and I want to tell you, we built that foundation. Where are we going to go? Our work is not done. We have an incredibly large infrastructure project that's needed on West Colfax. I want to come together and make sure that we can see that to continue the vibrancy of that. Continue to see our award-winning, nationally recognized sustainability program continue to make a difference in our city. I want to make sure that we address homelessness in a smart manner and really flex our partnerships with our faith-based partners as well as our nonprofits. And while we've had great wins, I want to bring Lakewood back to what made us what we are today, and that's our neighborhoods. Let's refocus on our neighborhoods. Let's support their dreams, their desires, and make them be the best that they can be. And if that means let's not grow, let's not grow. And if that means let's find ways for economic development and growth, let's do that. This has been an incredible pleasure to serve you for many years. I look forward to the next 4 years. We were tasked with changing the ugliness, so together let's move forward and do this. I look forward to your vote this November. I look forward to serving another 4 years. Thank you.
Adam, thank you. Ramie, thank you as well, both of you, for today. Thank you. They are the candidates for mayor of Lakewood, Adam Paul and Remmy Johnson. Election day is November the 5th. All active voters will be mailed a ballot between October 14th and October 18th. For your convenience, there will be an outside ballot drop-off box on the west side of the Civic Center located at 480 South Allison Parkway. If you choose to mail your ballot, be sure that it is mailed early enough to ensure that it arrives by the deadline on Tuesday, November 5th. For more drop-off box locations as well as the nearest polling centers, go online to jeffco.us/elections. For candidate and ballot information, please consider using vote411.org, the online voter's guide, which will be available starting on October 8th, 2019. This guide provides a side-by-side comparison of the candidates for all of the Colorado races. Thank you for watching.